Recording, son.
Indeed, it is on. All right, cool. Are we ready, ladies and gentlemen?
Where the ladies at though?
They're behind the screen watching us. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of The Forbidden Juice. It's your boy AD.
Truefunktion, what it up?
Yeah, it's RJ, man.
Bedroom edition. Change of location.
So, this is The Forbidden Juice, where we spill the juice on all things forbidden. Do you dare take a sip?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
Yes,
So we are
sir.
going to get into our little section that is called The Freshest Farquhar, where we talk about somebody who's done something that is, well, frankly speaking, Farquharish. So something that is really, really foolish, something very stupid. We have to call out the stupidity. Who would like to go? Because I know I do not have one so far.
That's the funniest thing. You just went straight into it, and yeah.
And
So
I don't have one.
I
bro.
have to fish one out the barrel.
Yeah.
What can I think about?
Bro, because this is the thing, man. I come across stupidity on Twitter all the time. You know what?
Twitter is like your main go-to for Farquhar.
Yeah, because
you don't
they
take them from real
exist.
life.
They get no. Do you know what it is?
You don't look around
They're
you.
so prominent on Twitter. That's the problem. You know what I mean? They're so prominent on Twitter that I'm just like, ugh.
What was one that I saw recently that really upset me? I remember watching it. It had to do with something going on with the news, and I was like, "Bargwan, man, stupidity."
Well, I mean, if we're talking about news, there's obviously a lot of tragic stuff that's happened on the news, like the 15-year-old kid that was stabbed.
Yeah, there's been what's that? London.
Yeah, London.
Yeah, bruv, that's been on the rise. I mean, I'm not saying it to sort of disregard it or desensitize it, but it seems to be like a lot of it's been on the rise recently.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, I guess those guys are all, well, the people doing the stabbing are definitely Farquhars. They've got mental health problems. I don't know what's going on.
Big time, bro. Apparently, I heard though that the mother of the stabber, she's the one that ratted him out and got him arrested.
Good mum.
Yeah, bro.
It's hard to do that for your kid, though. You know what I'm saying? When you got bad kids, it's really hard. Yeah,
Bro,
but
you have
I feel
to.
like if you've got some level of like loving your kid, you gotta rat them out.
Yeah, man. For that
So they
one,
don't
at
keep
least.
on going, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
if he's killing people already now, you don't do nothing. What's to stop him from killing you, man?
Yeah,
That's
man.
a crazy
Trust me.
one.
And
That went dark quickly. We went to lighten with
bro,
the freshest
yeah, I
Farquhar,
know,
bro.
right? It was
Like,
meant to
it's
be all
a
lighthearted and stuff, but I can't think of a Farquhar.
Hey, Raf, what you got? I can see you picking your lips. Oh, it's your chin.
I look at your eyes when you come with the front. Look at motherfucker, man.
Do you know what the funniest thing is?
Man said I was picking your lip.
I can't see it because the mic is there. And I was like, as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, it's your beard. Sorry, bro. For those of you remember, I was wearing shades the last season. Are we calling it the last season? The last
We
6
might as well put it in
episodes?
the last season,
Freaking
innit?
fake
We might as
Wesley
well.
Snipes, motherfucker. Where's your glasses? Bring
Whoa,
them
Def,
back,
you know what I'm saying?
Fake blade, bro. Where's your
Whoa.
glasses?
I look
Bring
like a
them
fake
back,
Blade.
fam.
You look like fake Tyrese. Why you
Yeah.
gotta act
Don't fake
like
Tyrese,
this? These are the shots for little Becky. Sweet lady. I'll go all your songs, fam. Listen to all of them.
Hey, look like Tyrese, man. Shit.
Transformers, Optimus Prime. Da, 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 da. No, I'm joking. That one wasn't as good.
Oh,
But
man.
who can be a freshest Farquhar?
Bro, I don't know. I feel like just people in my hometown are fresh as Farquhar just because they
Which
are.
hometown? The one over here or in Nigeria?
He's talking about Hembo, Hamster. What you
No,
talking
yeah,
about?
Hembo,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry,
Hembo.
sorry.
No, I'll tell you a madness that I saw though, yeah. So outside the office where I work, there was like
Is it picking
what
you
are
up?
doing? Of course it's picking me up. I can project. But no, there was a girl, a guy,
An old lady.
like, another guy. Like there were basically like 3 girls and 2 guys in it.
Running train.
And yeah, and like there was a baby stroller in between all of them and
Yeah,
stuff. So one of my work colleagues pointed out, like, bruv, look at that, bruv. Can you imagine? Like she's that young and got a ute. And I'm thinking that it is the mixed race girl with her back towards me because the way she was standing by the pushchair, I was like, okay, I guess it's her. But then she left that way, and then the smallest girl in the group, who literally looked about 15, along with the guy, you know what I mean, went off with the ute, and I was looking like, oh my goodness.
Hemmels, you've told me loads of stories.
But this ain't a surprise to me.
It's-
Come on.
No, bro, but you know what
We
it
got
is?
bare
Like,
15
Hold on. Let me
What?
wait. Hold on. Let me interject
it's
very
still
quickly.
just like,
Let me tell you something. So, what's been going on with Adrian has been very interesting because he's been WhatsApping us in our group chat, right? He's fully become like uncle, father figure. Very recently, yeah.
You know what I
He's
have,
been
you know?
sending us messages. He was like, hey guys, so we finished work here at like 4 p.m., 7 p.m. He's like, hey guys, let me share something with you. So, yeah, I just finished working, and I'm driving, and I see a young girl. Nice, young-looking girl. Not in that way, but she is smoking a cigarette.
That was in the morning.
And I was like,
that was not after work. That was before work.
why is she smoking a cigarette? She's only 15. What about her lungs? And me and Ralph just fully kept quiet. Looked at the message, blue ticks, silence. So like, bro, we see it all the time. What is going on? Then the next thing he sent us, he goes, you know what, guys? It hit me the other day. How we are humans, how we are in society. So there was this woman I'm trying to sell a house to because he sell houses now. Bang, bang, go on. Ring, ring. From the last time when he wasn't. Okay, bang, bang, came up and then he left. Started from the bottom and we here.
Still money, baby.
Anyway,
money,
so
babe.
back to the story. He's like, so yeah, I'm trying to sell this house to this woman, yeah? And she's walking for miles with a buggy and her child.
Oh,
And she was like, see, look at him. He's remembering. Old man, he's even got dementia. He forgot.
Hey.
So he's like, so yeah. I said, look, come, let me view the house. And she goes, okay. She needs to go home. She goes, oh yeah, I'm walking a mile away. He goes, I'll drop you off home. She goes, no, don't do it. He goes, oh yeah, I'll do it. She said, no, I don't do it. He goes, yeah, I'll do it. And she goes, okay. He drops her off. He goes, I didn't know people don't do this no more. She was genuinely afraid. She was crying.
What accent is this?
I don't know, Do you know what it is, yeah? I lost moisture in my voice. So my voice started going. Anyway, back to the story. I have no idea what's going on. But she was like, yeah, oh, you're so kind, you're so crying. He told us, she was crying and all this thing.
Nah, she wasn't crying, bro.
And she was like, proper, like, oh my God, like, oh, you are Jesus, your King is Lord. Oh, thank you for taking me, Jehovah. Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Adonai. For those of you that don't watch the Bible. You are the most high God. So, yeah.
Hold on.
But yeah, anyway, hold on.
Wait. Can you stop for a second? Wait, can we hold on? Wait. You guys are doing the dance. Yo, the thing has stopped recording, fam. The video has stopped recording.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's why I just kept going. Yeah, we just kept
cool.
going.
Well, alright, fine. Audio from this point onwards.
Yeah, audio from this point because we lost the video.
Yeah,
so
fine.
this guy's gonna be a audio addition back into the.
So anybody watching on YouTube,
So
you know.
So you missed, just silence, visual silence. Anyway, yeah. So she said all of this. Right, I'm gonna get to the end of the story. Yeah, and he ends it with this. Yeah, this is how he ends. He goes, I don't know why it's not a thing to help out people like this. I wish people were more like me. And in my head, I was like, this guy is one of his shut. Bro, hey, whip out the thing. You said people should be more like me. I swear to God. Hey, fam, you said it. You said it.
I meant.
Hey, no. Don't amend anything, bro. Hey, listen. There's no explanation.
Wait,
this guy he starts selling houses. He's now full of himself. People should be like me. I am now selling houses and I drop women off with members. That's me. You are the most high. You are the most high God.
People are drunk. Listen,
Where's the tambourines at, B?
Bro, look. You know
Can't even
what?
say nothing.
Alright, look, no more freshest Farquhar. I'm fed up. Alright, we don't have a freshest Farquhar this day. We're just gonna go straight into the topic, okay? Is that okay?
Alright.
Because instead, I'm the freshest Farquhar for that one. So crack the whip on your back. Crack the whip. Moving on to the topic of the day. So, I came across a video from a guy on Facebook. I can't remember his name.
Oh,
now,
I know who you're talking about. The guy the mixed race fellow.
Who I shared on in a group. Almonte.
Yeah. He used to do a lot of funny videos, but he was also like known for doing a lot of deep topics. And caught flack for doing. But go.
Yeah. So with Almonte, he made a video. It was a little while ago, but he did make a video on Tekashi 6ix9ine's use of the N-word and whether.
He has full authority to use the N-word.
So just having a discussion about the usage of the N-word. I know with amongst ourselves as well as within our own our own friend groups, we have hotly discussed this topic as well.
This is old. It's old.
No one can see, but my mouth is open. And it's only because I just remembered my freshest Farquhar and it relates. We don't need to say it now. We'll say it's part of the conversation.
Throw some fruit in his mouth.
But it's...
Sorry, carry on.
You nasty guy. What's wrong with you, innit?
I don't know.
Bro, what is... Anyway.
I don't know.
I'll mention it later because And also, I want to add a little twist to it. The reactions that black people have to the N-word and the reactions of others, but especially white people, to the N-word. Because
White
it's really
people.
interesting how they act
I
towards
love
it when they
white
hear it in their
people.
presence. But yeah, you want to start us off?
So, Raf, do you want to start us off or shall I start us off? What do you want to do?
He was calling me all kinds of nigger and tombs and uncle
In fact,
Poms and coons earlier. You know what I'm saying?
Raf, you
He was
start, bro.
fully saying that, bro.
Why should I start though?
Because you were calling me Uncle Tom, coon, niggery, and everything.
I'm
Niggerish,
trying to defend
niggerology,
myself,
all of that
that's
kind of
all.
nonsense.
Niggerology, you know, the study of niggers, niggerology.
You guys already know how I feel about the N-word, man. You know, obviously, I don't feel like anybody
Fully
should say
endorsing
it.
it like Trump.
You know, regardless of history. Like, I don't know. Adrian thinks there's. This is what I was talking to my colleague at work about. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
can see me cheesing. I'm cheesing right now.
Nah, like a lot of these black artists or Adrian, for example, yeah.
Wow.
They wanna say that okay, black people, you know, took the word back. Show me some documentation. Show me some
animation and documentation.
Okay, documentation.
Documents and anime put together. Documentation.
Show me like some history or some movement of people, except for Tupac. That's not cemented in like. Tupac has done a lot for the black community, yeah, but he's not okay. We don't worship him in the sense of like, okay, he's now the co-founder of the movement of the N-word, and we're taking it back in that sort of sense. Like, no one took back the word. We did not take back the word, bro.
Shit,
the
nigga,
word is the word is the word,
Oh,
bro.
somebody use the N-word again. Oh, somebody use the N-word again.
You can go and find churches, protests, or people who actually are trying to get tell people not to use that word in times in America and stuff like that. So
I saw a little boy break down the N-word, and I was like, oh, Jesus.
Bro.
It was like, nigger comes from the word negros. And he did some whole Spanish breakdown of it in Latin.
Yeah.
And I was like, someone fed you this information. But yeah, what do you think?
No, let me finish up with this.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, just like that brother said in the video, and this is what a lot of artists say.
I will find a way, I'll find a way to see if I can edit the video in.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, so that people can see. So yeah, here's the video. Alright, yeah, back to the thing.
Yeah, but this is something that I've noticed with like a lot of black artists that speak about the N-word.
Yeah.
They always come up with the same argument about, okay, we might have taken back the word, but should we actually say it? Oh, I don't know. They always say like, I'm not really sure if black people should really be saying it anyway. So they're always in the middle, in a sense. And he said it in his video as well. He said like, but should we be using it? Oh, that's a different type of story. But, you know, we've taken back the word, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, no one should be saying the word at the end of the day. It's a bad word. And like he said, every word has meaning. So, you know, you can't come on that sort of story as well, saying that it's just a word, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? So, like, say your piece, Adrian. Say what you have to say in it. I know what you're going to say, bro. I know how you feel about this topic, bro.
Let me puff my chest down and start talking some shit. So, N-word, nigga, right? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it with full confidence, right?
Say it with chest.
Look, at the end of the day, I don't care. This is the argument that really irritates me when people say that nigga with ER and nigga with A on the end are the same word. No, they're fucking not.
Say it with chest.
The fact that they are spelt different is a clear giveaway.
I've never met someone that believes that. I've seen the video, but I've never seen someone that believes that.
Yeah, but you act as if it's the same word.
Oh no, I don't think it's the same word. No matter how you say nigga, it's the same word. There's no difference, bro. It's not nigga and nigger, bro. It's the same thing, bro.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot, bro. Bro, they are two different words. Just because they came from the same root doesn't mean that they're the same word, bro. What the hell?
Word, bro.
No, they're not.
Who told you that? Where is it? Who told you that?
Look at the two words. Okay,
no, who told you that?
Wait. Why are they spelled?
spell it differently, but who told you that?
Wait. Why are they spelled differently? Why are they spelled differently?
You tell me.
I'll tell you why. Because they're two different words, you fucker.
Wow.
not
F
two
word.
different
F
Yes, they are.
word.
No, okay, no, argue against it. Alright, cool. So nigger spelled ER and nigger spelled A, right? You're trying to say that they're the same word, even though they're spelled differently. How?
By spelling, it's different, obviously.
Okay,
But you
so
can't
there's-
change. We can't change the word.
Yes, the fuck we can. Yes, the fuck we can. Because we have a word called bad, for example, and I know that I have used the word bad to mean good. Have you used the word bad to mean good?
That's slang, bro.
No, shut up. It's the same
don't
thing,
tell me
bro.
to shut up.
It's the
I'll
same
slap you in
thing.
your face,
It's
bro.
the same thing, bro. You say the word. You're saying a word that originally
How
meant
can you be
something.
defending the word nigger?
Hold on, bro.
Stupid.
Bro, it's the same
Retarded.
concept. You have
Retarded, bro.
you have a word that originally was negative and then it was made positive.
Who made it
Because
positive?
Society, bro.
No.
Whichever people were using it. People were using the word bad.
Still
Bad
bad.
has always meant bad, yeah? And then people have then started using bad to mean good. People were saying sick to be a bad thing. Oh, you're sick. That's disgusting. Sick. Right?
That's
And then
disgusting.
people had then been using sick to mean good. Like, oh, yo, bro, that's only
You
mean
have a
was sick.
big
bro.
difference between slang
Yeah,
and normal
no.
words.
What
man.
and what? So,
And
nigga,
so
wait.
So in your GCSEs, you're not going to be able to use
oh
those
yeah,
slang
because they
words.
teach slang in GCSE. What the
I'm
fuck?
not saying you're
Bro,
teaching slang. Are you dumb? You listen to what I'm saying.
Nigga with GA. Nigga,
dumb,
nigga
bro?
with A on the end. Nigga with A on the
Are
end.
you even listening to what I'm saying,
Nigga
bro?
with A on the word. Is that slang or not?
Slang.
It's slang. So what? Bro, so are we not... What? Do you not listen to what you're saying, bro? So you're saying, oh yeah, it's slang with the bad and the sick, but nigga is not... But nigga is slang as well, but it doesn't apply to the same rule. How? Thank
I'm
you.
saying...
Well, shut your mouth, bro. You don't know what...
shut
You
up.
can't even make your argument...
I'm trying to speak and you're speaking over me. I'm waiting for you to speak, B.
Bro, man was
Arguing.
speaking, innit? Man was speaking. So, my point is, these are different words. Even though they came from the same origin, they are different words at the end of the day. One is a negative and one is meant to be a positive, right? Now, I'm not saying that everybody should be using it or anything like that. In fact, far from the contrary, that is a word that at this point I feel that only black people should be saying it.
Oh,
right?
now you, well, your
Yes,
friends
yeah,
are still
now-
saying it.
yeah,
Shut the fuck up.
Wait, yeah,
and your
hold
friends
on
are
a
still
sec.
saying it.
Hold on
And your
a
friends
sec.
still...
Wait,
hold on.
Contradiction,
Wait,
bro.
hold on,
And your friends still there.
Wait, bro.
Hold on.
Shut up, bro.
Wait,
Man, we're trying to go now.
Wait,
Shut up, bro.
because, right?
Shut up,
Because
bro.
if you'd seen, right, after I posted that Almonte video,
To text that video for you to
Hold
change your
on.
mind. Are you dumb?
bro, it's been not only just the fact that I watched the video, but it's also been something that's brewing within me within time. Because if we're being real about it, right, there was a time when you came to me separately and you're like, why does XYZ keep saying the word nigger when he's clearly not one? And since that time, bro, I'd been sitting about it, marinating it, and every time he'd been saying it, it was bugging me, bro. I was like, you know what, I really should talk to him about it. So since that time it happened, and then in addition to then watching this Almonte video, that just solidified the whole thing for me. And it was just like, you know what, bro, my people cannot start saying it around me no more. Like, I've got to take the passes off of people, because that's another aspect of this discussion, right? The people that are using the word, thinking that they can use the word because we allowed them to use the word. That's another section of this whole discussion. But back to the original thing that I was saying, right? The word ended with A, right? So nigga ended with A. I personally think that that's a word that can be used by the black people, that by the black community. That is our word, right? We have taken it, we have used it however we seem fit, right? That is our word to do with whatever, however we want to, okay? So the only thing that we can do at this point in time is make sure that we all understand and are on the same level, that first off, it is exclusive to us. After that, if we want to eradicate the usage of the word, then fine. There's no problems with that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't eradicate the word. What I am saying though is that is a word that is not all bad, right? It's not a word that has all these negative connotations that a lot of black people are trying to make it out like it's got, bro. Because that word has empowered a whole lot of other black people within the community, right? The youngsters out here, some of them are actually empowered by that word. You know what I mean? My nigga.
Retarded. That statement is so
what do
dumb.
you mean,
Carry
bro?
on, bro.
So when
Carry
people,
on. Carry on, bro.
so when youngers are out here like, yo, bro, you're my nigga, that doesn't empower them.
You don't even know why they say that in the first
Hold
place.
on a second. Answer
That's
my
how
question.
bad it
No,
is,
answer
bro.
my question.
You don't even know why they say nigga, bro.
Bro,
It's
answer
a
my
bad
question.
habit.
Answer my question. If a young'un goes to another young'un, yo, bro, you're my nigga, does that not empower them? Yes or no?
It's just a saying, but it doesn't empower
Bro,
them.
you're
How?
not answering. It's a yes or no question,
No.
bro. It doesn't empower
No.
them. You're dumb, bro.
How am I dumb?
You're dumb.
You're my friend. Is that empowering you? You're
it's
my
so
bro.
weak.
You're my ninja. Is that empowering you, bro? It's
Not
just a
ninja,
bad
bro.
word that they picked it up and they've made it into. Bro, if you knew about flipping record labels and flipping, what's it called? the people that are in charge of them allow them to say that word. But nah, get the heck out of here, bro. You know
So
shit,
can the uncle step in? Uncle, by the way, people watching, listening, I'm going to.
You're a music artist and you don't even know what they're
I
doing.
got cut off.
What do you mean, like, bro?
do you think
What?
Nobody wants
What
to
do you
listen to
mean?
me.
I don't know. You're acting as if I've not done research,
It's
bro. I
okay.
know all of this stuff,
It's
and I'm
okay,
saying
it's
it from a
okay.
point of understanding, bro. This is after everything that's been
Let
considered.
Uncle speak in it. Let Uncle speak
Bro,
in it.
because I was about to flame you with some logic,
Got
bro.
no logic, bro.
When the blood is hot. Oh, it's
You
okay.
think a bad word empowers it?
You couldn't argue against my
Big
logic about the
lips
whole
are
bad and sick and nigga thing, but alright.
You didn't even let me finish about that.
You can't
My
argue
point,
against it.
my point was
just
basically
had
was like
every
you don't
day.
use slang in freaking the GCSEs. In normal English, we don't use that slang. So what was your point, bro?
Alright, I've had enough of both of you. Let me say my piece, because
Go
I've
ahead,
been
bro.
cracking jokes and saying nonsense. When you listen back to this recording, you're gonna be like, what the hell was he doing? But anyway, so I am in the middle on this one. I'm not doing it to be that weak guy to sit on the fence, but the way I look at it, I don't personally use the word. The only reason I use the word is because of pop culture, and pop culture is still at the moment defined by a lot of African Americans. I deem the word to be African American culture and their use. A good example of this is Richard Pryor said when he went to the land of Africa, which is not a land, it's a fucking continent, but he went to there, people didn't use the word nigger because it doesn't have a place there. It's actually, in fact, an African American word. It's theirs. Now, by definition, it's like having a club. You have a club for men's club, right? There might not be members in that club, but men can do what you got because it's just a men's thing. You know what I'm saying? If guys go, hey, you know what? We got this club where we like stroking our beards. Guys outside the club are entitled to do it because they're all men, because we all grow beards. Women can't because they don't have beards. And if they do, God help us all. But I deem it to be... I do actually feel it's the same way. I don't feel like the spelling changes it. But the only reason I will agree that the spelling means anything any different is because it's an African American thing. When a culture comes to fruition and they build the rules of that culture, they're allowed to have that. Do you see what I'm saying? So by that definition, yes. I'm not saying everyone... I agree with you that if they want to say it, fair enough. And if other black people want to participate, just for the fact that African Americans have made the rule that if you're black, you can say it, then fair enough. It's not something I use in my daily vocabulary with certain black people. I definitely won't say it around my family. There's certain black people I don't use it around. I'll use it as a joke, but that's only because I've watched loads of comedians use it. And I'll only use it in a joking sense. I will never go, yo, my nigga. Because it's even as a term of endearment, I won't. I've listened to it, I know the history of it. Doesn't quite make sense to me. And here's where my freshest Farco comes in.
All right.
So, just to bait out the company, I won't do that. So I'm working for a company that does international forex exchanges, right? We do currency exchanges. And now I'm asking the old lady her security questions. And what do I see as her security question? What's your first pet's name? What do I see there?
You're lying.
Nigger. Nigger.
Wow.
I swear to God, yeah. And even though the word doesn't really mean much to me like that in that sense, it did catch me as surprise. I was asking her this question, yeah. I paused because I read the answer and I was like, and I was silent. And I was like, just hold on for a second. Here's me fanning down my white co-workers. I'm like, come see this shit. Come see this shit.
Oh,
Every
man.
one of their eyes grew to the size of the moon. I swear to God, because they couldn't believe what they saw. And that's why I wanted to throw in the white people's response to it, because it's now we're living in such a PC culture where it makes them uncomfortable that they can't say it. And I get why, because of the history of it. Doesn't matter if it's Nigga. That's an interesting point to make, actually. I'm going to digress and kind of play devil's advocate with him. Is it okay if a white person can say the Nigga part?
No.
But why? Because it's still the same word.
Because
In the sounding, regardless of the spelling.
I hear that. But the reason they
All
can't
right, wait,
do
hold
that-
on. Before I let you continue. Is it okay for a black person to say nigger?
No.
Why not?
It's just a shit word, bro.
But it's still the same sounding.
No, it's similar sounding.
Mm,
It's like
Can-
there, and there. Those are three similar
can
sounding
we-
words, but each
can we-
have
Do you know
different
what? Do you know why I say that? The difference is, yeah, in America, they get away with a lot more shit because of the way they slur. If you were to say in English, you would say nigger. I can actually pronounce that. But when you hear it, even if I heard a white person, you nigger, it's like, you know what I'm saying? But that's only because they put that voice and go, you nigger. But you know what I'm saying? I've heard white people say nigger, but it's still the ER at the end. So what do you say?
Can I just say that?
Oh, okay.
He's made a very good point, and I want Adrian to reply back.
I'm only throwing it out there. I'm not even trying to fight nobody. I ain't trying to fight nobody because you guys have been beefing, innit? And I've been in the corner.
I didn't even think of that point, and that's actually a really, really good point.
What? So because of their pronunciations, they blur the line between the ER and the A.
It's not just the pronunciation. The whole idea of the nigger ending in A. There's a song by Q-Tip called Hey Sucker Nigga, Whoever You Are. Listen to that song. Whoever's listening to it, listen to the song because it's a brilliant song. And it talks about the reappropriation of the word to be used as a term of endearment. This is actually, some of what I'm saying is actually quoted verbatim from the song. And he knows that the old people don't like it, but my lips are like a ooh up as I start to spray it. My lips are like a ooh up as I start to spray it. They say it as a term of endearment, and it's used... The song goes, nigga was a word used down in the deep south, falling out the dome of the white man's mouth. I'm not even going to quote all of this song, but anyway, Q-Tip's point was the young people back then of the 90s and the 80s decided to reappropriate it to take the edge out of it by saying, look, you can no longer say it. Me saying it's normalizing the word. But the reappropriation of the word, it still comes from a root word. Do you see what I'm saying? It still comes from a root word. And I agree with you, slang is slang. But at the end of the day, if your doctor says you're sick, you're not be like, yeah, I am, innit? Nah, fam, you're sick. Do you see what I'm saying? So there's always going to be the original word. And my whole thing about it is who gets to say what? Where's the thin line? Where's that border? Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Uncle, grace us.
So, like you say, it comes from the root, right? The ER ending, right?
Yeah.
We can all basically agree that is a bad word. That's one of those words that is unequivocally, that is the bad word. You shouldn't say
Trust
that, right?
me, because my colleagues' faces were horrified.
But then think about all the other bad words and stuff that we shouldn't say, right? Or bad words that for other people, if we're talking specifically race, right? There's a whole bunch of language that is not necessarily lost to time, but you don't hear people saying them because we all understand it's a bad word and you shouldn't say it.
How much does that word carry compared to those words?
Hold on a second, bruv. It's still the same point that it's a bad word that people all understood shouldn't be used, so they stopped using it.
But that word that we're talking about, the N word, carries so much pain, so much history compared to those other words.
Wait, hold on, which is why it's going to take a longer time for it to be phased out.
But
it's going to be a process, and the process at the end of the day is going to start with us taking back control of the word. That's the facts. Bro, alright, cool. So how are you going to get rid of the word then?
Can I say something?
It's been a plan since.
No, because you're saying that we shouldn't say it, which is going to get rid of the word. So if we're not going to, what is your plan then to get everyone to stop saying the word?
It's not my plan.
Do you know what? Let me tell you. Here's my view on it. The only people that can really get rid of it is the African Americans, because the reappropriation of the word is from them, and until they stop, because the only reason why the whole topic and debate comes out of it is because it's become pop culture now.
But then, all right, cool. So if you want us to be the ones to stop it, right? Let's say we stop saying the N word. What's going to stop?
What do you mean us? Who? Because you need to define.
Let's say African Americans.
Okay.
African Americans who are the ones that basically reappropriated the word, right?
Yeah.
So if they stop using the N word, do you really think that white people are going to stop using it?
Oh yeah, it would phase. Do you know why I say that? Do you know why I say that? Can I give an example? Because the biggest thing about the N word is also culture. When you go to Africa, when you go back home, or even Caribbean, I'm not so sure about the Caribbean because I don't know. I've not really been. But when I went to Africa. When I went to Nigeria, that word, I did not hear it. It just was not even amongst the young guys. They say, hey bros, hey brother, what's going on? But, hey my G, Niger boy, whatever. Never heard the N word. Hold on. I want to throw a different example in. So I had a good conversation, and this is why I want to throw it in there, because I know the conversation is about us and whether we can say it, but there's also something to be said about why the other races can't say it, and also how they feel in a weird way we should. So I'm going to throw this in. I had a conversation with one of the girls I was working with. She's from Pakistani descent. She goes, we can call each other Pakis. You can't call me a Paki. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
Do they even call each other Packy?
Yes, they do.
Yes.
They do.
Yes.
They fully do.
I never knew that.
Big fan.
Fully do.
Yeah.
I've been hearing it. He's like, shut up. I can't even say it. Shut up.
You started off real strong as well. Shut up.
Yeah, but I've heard one guy go, shut up, you bleep. And I was like, oh, you guys say it. But as soon as, and the weirdest thing is, the problem doesn't come so much because black people tend to respect it a bit more. The only time you hear a black person call another person, an Asian person or someone from that region, a Pakistani, yeah, in the short form. Anytime you hear them say the word Paki, yeah, is if they're really angry. Mm-hmm. But I've heard white people talk about that, oh, you know them Pakis, and it's
they
like
say it all
in
the time,
banter, like banter and just, you're not even out of anger because you can understand out of anger. Like, I wouldn't even say I would agree with anyone saying the N-word out of anger, but I don't know if any of you seen Chris Rock talk about it.
Nah.
Where he goes, the only time a white guy can say the N-word is if a black guy robbed you on Christmas Day, run you over, or smacked your wife. Then you go, it was that nigga over there. And he goes, that's the only time you can say it. Out of anger. But my point is, I sat down and talked with her. She said, there's certain words you can't say. Same for like calling people chinky. If a Chinese person, and they don't say that, they can call each other chinky if they want to, but again, a lot of these racial slurs seem to have come from the
white people.
Yeah, I was gonna say the pasty race, but anyway, that's terrible.
The colonizers.
But then you see what I'm saying? If I say that,
the pasty people.
but if I say that, yeah.
I don't think they'll be offended by that, you know.
No, they will be.
Yeah, they will.
But they can't say anything because
of
of
course
it. This is the thing. Yeah. And I take it. Do I take it? I take it back. I don't mean that. I've got loads of friends I work with, very cool peoples. But the whole point is, and I want to wrap up my point because I am taking a long time to get there. There's certain races or groups, cultural groups, where they have their words for themselves, right? We can't say that, right? Now, I want to bring it back to the N word. When I sat down with her, she goes, she can't stand the word. But I'm like, I'm okay to say it. She goes, yeah, you are, but it makes me uncomfortable. So there is an interesting point that even though we're allowed to say it amongst ourselves, the history of the word, which still hasn't been erased, because I think if you were to detach the history, like you said, it's going to take a long time. Once you get rid of the history behind the word, or people have forgotten it in terms of popular culture, then it will have less weight. But people still have, and because your phone is nonsense, fam. Your phone is nonsense. I ain't pressing record again. Anyway, move it. Yeah. Sorry, guys. The phone stopped recording. It's a short burst. All right. So I was saying, because the phone just stopped recording. Oh man, your phone stopped recording made me lose my point. But anyway, my whole thing is, because the history is still raw, and also we're still educating people about it. For Black History Month and just in general, that guys, slavery is still real, and slavery is still real. It's still real, and the way the world is now, and the kind of hierarchy we have, is because of that. It makes people feel uncomfortable. So I could be like, yeah, my nigga, negro, nigger, hey, I'm wizard, nigger, you know, whatever.
Are you okay, bro? You're having a stroke.
But the thing is, white people will sit and look, other races will sit and look. They'll be like, all right, cool, but they know they can't partake. And I think because they can't partake, that's part of their discomfort, but also then when they hear the word, triggers immediately, subconsciously, you know, slavery, if you've been taught about it, all of this stuff, how black people were treated. If you have no knowledge of the word and you just know about it, this is where the young people come in. If you have no knowledge about slavery, or any of that stuff, especially as a young person coming up, that's why you get no young white kids going, nigga, and get smacked in their mouth, because first and foremost, young black kids will be educated about it most quickly and first, and then the other races will catch up later. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't even know what my point was, but I did make an explanation. I don't even know what my point was.
Well, I was obviously talking about earlier on how do you eradicate the word from society eventually, right?
No, okay, yeah.
You see how you use the Paki example?
Yeah.
Of how it's a word that none of us can just casually say to them or something like that. Yeah. It makes us feel uncomfortable, does it not?
No,
it doesn't
make me feel uncomfortable.
I don't even think about the word ever. Like, it doesn't come to my mind.
It really doesn't, because the implications behind it, this is what's interesting. The implications behind it and how deep it is not as big as the N-word.
See, bruv,
And-
I couldn't say that word. I couldn't say that word like out in public to somebody.
I couldn't
like,
say it,
be
but
like,
it doesn't make me feel uncomfortable. Whereas I've spoken to many a different person from different background, cultures, and races, and a lot of people say and have stated with conviction they don't like hearing the word, and it doesn't matter who says it.
True.
So it's interesting because do you know what it is? Most of the sort of the diatribe and the fight and the topic comes from between two races, even though racism happens between all races, but it always seems to be predominantly between black and white. And the reason why that is because it's no longer becoming the truth anyway, it's changing. But white people used to, well, in a sense, still sit at the top of the cultural, the ladder of cultural racial hierarchy, right? And black people are still seen at the bottom. And the reason why I'll say that, because a lot of people disagree, it is changing, but the reason why I'll say that is because black people will still be getting the worst treatment, not just from white people, but from every other race around the world. We have seen Chinese people, we've seen the YouTube video of Chinese people taking pictures of black people like they were superstars. But equally, I've heard some diabolical stuff about how the Chinese people have treated black people.
Yep.
I've heard about the Israelites. We all talk about the Israelite Palestinian struggle. I have seen some stuff that's made me angry about how the Jewish people, or the Israelites, I'll say, have been treating black people. It's almost like the Nazi concentration camps. It is terrifying. And that was happening not too long ago. Arabic world, in the Arabic
Still
world.
black slaves out
Still,
there.
bruh. There's not just the black slaves, but just because you're deemed darker, you're worth nothing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that really when it comes to the fight that goes on, the reason why we'll see all of these other races and know that they're racist and blah, 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 but we will deal with white people because white people set up that president. That whole hierarchy is set up with white people being in the top. So if you take out the top, everyone should fall in disarray. Do you see what I'm saying? But because white people are still seen as the go-to, not just from black people, but from the Arabs, from the Asians, you'll always see that in most mixed marriages, you're most likely to see a white person with any other race than you'll see with a black person. Although that's changing, though. That is changing because Nigerians are everywhere. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, Lord.
These guys are dumb.
But yeah, that was my point. So that whole thing of the discomfort behind the word and who can say it. And I also think, I'm going to wrap up my point. I also think the reason why black people fight the hardest over it is because it's one of the last things that we have that's not been culturally appropriated. Do you see what I'm saying? Hip hop now is at a point, yeah, you can say, okay, it's still majorly a black thing, but it's at a point where it's too big for the African Americans or anyone from the black culture or race to police it. A lot of things that come from black culture have eventually just become so pop culture. How do you police it? But you can still police the N-word because of the history behind it. Same way the Jewish people can still, to a degree, police stuff about the Holocaust. Do you see what I'm saying? That is the only thing. And I think that's why maybe there's something that we can fight with because it belongs to us. Or I'll say African Americans, but then for the wider range, it belongs to us. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's why I understand why we can feel the way to say it without impunity and be like, yeah, remind people.
Thanks.
Yeah. But then this is what I'm saying from carrying on from that, right? Like you're saying, like you said, that is the one word that cannot be culturally appropriated. That can't be taken from us.
Yeah, it really
cannot. So moving forward from there, we need to set up the law that, okay, first off, so we're at a stage where it can't be taken from us.
Yes.
Why?
The next step.
Why can't it be taken?
Interesting. That's interesting to say that because actually it was originated with white people. We've taken it from there.
Yeah.
So we have appropriated the word, but because of the manner of the word, it's now.
Why can't we take it? White people created it. Why can't we take it?
No, we have. It's been taken. It's been taken, but it can't be appropriated.
We're saying it can't
again.
be taken back from us.
Yeah, it can't be appropriated again because of its nature and what it was used for.
Everyone now knows where we stand with that. Like that is a no-go word. We now all understand and know that.
The problem is though, and this
if slavery wasn't abolished, and obviously to some extent slavery is still going around in every different types of form, then white people will still be using that word, and we'd be still.
Do you know what the issue is? Do you know what the biggest issue is? And I understand why the elderly black people who went through the struggle and have been called that name, and then even some of our generation who don't want to hear it, is because as time goes on, the learning of history is not as sound as it used to be. Do you see what I'm saying? We still learn us. I'll give the English education system a good example for this. You will still learn about Queen Victoria, the Tudors, and everything else before you even glimpse what happened during the American civil rights movements or what happened during slavery. They'll give you a month for that, and because of that, and also because just the internet and the information that's being out there, more young people are coming out with less information around the races about history. You see what I'm saying? Our history and what we learn is their history for things going on now. So history of the 90s is their history in terms of modern history. Us learning about the civil rights movement is like, not too long ago, but that's way longer for them. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get young white people, black people who don't understand the history behind the word. And that's why you're going to get people advocate to just get rid of the word. Because if you can just put some sort of... what's that word that people use when you make something just like a boogie monster? Like it's taboo. If you make it taboo in a sense across the board, then it doesn't matter whether the younger generation comes up or not. It's just taboo. But then taboos get broken. So I don't know what the answer is, man. It's hard.
But that's why I'm saying that if you want to get rid of the word, first off, you need to control the word to get rid of it.
How do you control it?
I told you, bruv. You have to make it that only black people can say it. After that,
controlling a word doesn't get rid of a word.
Bruv, you're not listening to me, bruv. I said control it first, then you decide what to do with it after. So when black people first take the word and make sure that nobody else says it, it's like, bruv, that's it, off limits. Then as a black community, we can then decide, all right, you know what? We're going to be the last
people
to
we even
stop
together as a black community? Bruv, and one post, number two. We've taken a word. Well, that word is never going to be abolished. I'm telling you right now, that word nigger is not going to disappear ever.
You reckon?
Ever. No.
Ever?
Everybody's going to keep on saying it. As long as that it's in music, in pop culture, in everything, in comedy, it's never going to disappear. People are going to be saying that word forever.
Okay, hold on. I want to say one thing before I let you go.
Go on.
It's just a small point. I think it would disappear once China takes over the world. But yeah, anyway, go on.
But I was gonna say, okay, cool. So if you think the word's never gonna go, right? Who's gonna be saying the word?
Black people.
Alright, cool. So if black people, but you're saying that black people should stop using the word.
Of course.
Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out then is, what are you trying to achieve then?
I'm not trying to achieve anything. I can only express my opinion to other people. And there's going to be black individuals that know the power of that word and won't say that word. There's loads of people like myself that would never say the word, whether famous, whether...
Why you lying, nigga? You called me a nigga earlier, man.
Yeah, I did.
This is.
And I only use the word nigga because he called me earlier, bro.
I'm telling you, Raf doesn't realize it, yeah? He slips into it sometimes. He fully slips into it, right? And the fact of the matter is, it is an addictive word to say.
Can I say something? Yes. I'm a hypocrite, you know? Wait, hold on.
Came out like it's a sex scandal.
I don't know why you guys bring this up.
I am a hypocrite.
Yeah? I ain't gonna front. I'm a man to my word, you know? I'm a man. Let me take responsibility.
You're clearly not because you're a hypocrite, fam. What are you talking about?
Listen, I don't know why you brought that up. Yeah?
Oh my
now I've got to explain myself. Yeah.
Damage and body your argument.
Baited out.
Listen, Toffee, I don't know why you said now.
My name is Doc Man.
Yeah, I said it as a joke, and it was wrong for me to say it as a joke because obviously I'm contradicting myself. But my point is like individuals like myself that know the power of the word, activists, whatever. There's always going to be a selective black people that know that will not say it, that have my mindset, and that's the only way it's going to be like. That's the only way it's going to be like.
Wait, can I question something very quickly? It's actually a question to you.
Okay.
How did you come across the word?
TV.
Okay, but what TV specifically? What culture?
It was TV and just music.
Music, but from where? Where from?
Hip hop.
Okay, and hip hop is what, predominantly American.
Yeah.
The reason why it's so hard to get rid of the word.
Because it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, but that's the
Movies.
thing. It's because it's from. That's why I said it's a joke. But imagine, hypothetically speaking, it will happen actually. But imagine it is a superpower. Yeah. Imagine they are slightly dominating in a weird way, but they haven't done it in the way that America does.
Well, Africa,
I was gonna say Africa becomes the new superpower in 2050 or whatever. I won't say Africa, just one particular country because Africa's a continent.
Nigeria.
Amen. Anyway, so
If I should,
you know what I'm saying? You see,
bro.
our faces went what? Let me just say China. Imagine, you know what? Actually, a really good example. I change it. Japan decides to evoke military effects, like in a military sense. They got their military to the same level as America already in the weirdest way, and you notice this. Japan's their media, their content in terms of anime has been consumed worldwide to the point. If you look at the cultural changes they've had on the world, we've seen people cosplay, doing all the Janet and all those little finger stuff, yeah, where nigger and being cool and being hip hop used to be take president. You see what I'm saying? It's now in a place where, you know, we've got hip hop still doing its thing. But Japan, you know what I'm saying? The anime thing is like so commercial now. Imagine if they really capitalized on that and everyone was using the word gaijin. Everyone's using the word gaijin, right? That would be because we consume so much of their content. I would propose if you really wanted to get rid of the word, you just have to shut down America. There'd have to be a media blackout for America. I did come up with a little thing that backs you up in terms of playing devil's advocate. I can't speak today, probably because I've been working. But anyway, in playing devil's advocate, my whole thing is actually we should keep the word because it will always relate to the history. It will always make people uncomfortable. It will always be a thing that,
Just stop recording, bro.
All right, bunny. So we're going out without footage, man. It's been going in and out. You guys will be pissed when you're watching this, but anyway.
No, I'll press it again.
Press it again, all right.
I'll press it again. But go on, continue your point.
Yeah, I think actually, because it did occur to me, maybe getting rid of the word would also be a way of forgetting the history.
Yeah,
and actually, it's good to have it there because then it just makes people remember. That's it.
Well, see, this is the thing, right, that I'm trying to say. Because at the end of the day, Raf, you're saying it's a bad word, right? Mm-hmm. Cool. So, if you want the bad word to stop existing, right, I'm genuinely thinking, what's your... Oh, you're balancing the mic on your leg. If you want the bad word to stop existing, I'm not even saying that it should still exist and we should still be able to like use it freely, rare, this and that. But what I'm saying, yeah, is if you want the people to stop saying the word, then first what needs to happen is we need to take control of the word, i.e. it's just for black people. Then within the black community, we can then fight amongst ourselves to say whether, okay, yeah, it should be said or no, it shouldn't be said. But the fact of the matter is we really do need to stop letting our white friends and our Asian friends and our Mexican friends, like we need to stop all of them saying the word.
But we're not united as the black community. Wait. There's no meeting where we come together. This is the black meeting. 80% of the country has. We're taking the word. Wait.
This is a black meeting.
We've taken the word the nigger. It's 8% from the country. Blah blah blah. We can now declare to eradicate it. It doesn't work that way. No one's speaking for us. The whole black community is broken. Like whatever your plan in terms of taking back the word is not going to work. So we can't do what you're trying to say.
You say that, bruv. You say that, right? But at the same time, if we look at a whole bunch of just history, right? Really and truly, black people being united, the only time that ever kind of sort of was the civil rights movement. And even then, that still wasn't united, right? But did we not get results?
True.
You know what I mean? We got results. And I'm not saying... Wait, hold on, bro. My turn to speak, right? So... I'm not saying that we all need to have like a black delegation summit meeting where we all sit down and we have our head Negroes over there deciding, okay, the next thing on the agenda is the N-word. Should we or shouldn't we? But we will naturally have the conversation amongst ourselves. Like just as we are now, we will naturally have the conversations amongst ourselves about whether it's worth saying this word or not. Especially because now that we've got control of it, for example, right? It will then be a discussion about like, bruv, you know what? Nobody else can use this word except us. Is it even worth putting in the music no more? Is it even worth putting it in our media and rare this and that? Like, we will have that discussion amongst ourselves. Like, the rappers will have that thought amongst themselves. The old heads will. You know what I mean? Everyone will have that. And then eventually, if the word is to die out or stop being used as much, then sure. If not, then black people will keep using it, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, first off, right, and you can't argue against this. First off, we need to stop white people and Asian people and like Mexican people and all them other people. We need to stop them using the word.
All right, cool. Number one, you're talking about the civil rights movement, yeah? That era was completely different. It's completely different to this era. Then that era, people people are still dying, but they were really trying to fight for racism. You know what I'm saying? So you can't compare that era to this era right now. Number two, number three.
Number two, nigga.
Yeah. What was my freaking second
Can't
point?
count. Oh, you get
Number two.
Continue.
People do not. This is only my personal opinion. There's not enough black people that care about the word to the extent the way I care about it. There's people don't care about what's behind that word.
Oh, I think there are.
There are people, but not to the extent of trying not to say the word.
Your phone fully doesn't.
It's done. The camera is done.
They don't care because people keep on saying the word and it's not going to be eradicated. Number three, I agree with your third point. We do need to tell. That's one thing that we can actually do as black people, as a nation, as a community. We can actually stop telling our friends that listen, man, stop.
I have a question for you guys because whilst that's all fine and dandy, that's kind of idealistic. My whole thing is, how do you police it when you're not there?
Well, bruv, how do you police anything when you're not there? You know what I mean?
So is it merely in your presence? Because I think a lot of people do.
No, but this is the thing. Even
white people say the hell of the word. My white friend has definitely told me that he says the word when I'm not there.
But at the end of the day,
he told you, what you gonna do, nigger? Oh, you're here. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
But this is the thing. Right? At the end of the day, right? You can't stop people from saying it behind closed doors. Like, because that's just humans. You can't stop people from saying whatever they say behind closed doors and whatnot, this and that, right? But at the end of the day, we are in a point in time where people feel like they can comfortably say it in front of us, and that should not be the case.
I disagree. Do you know why I disagree?
How can you when it's there?
I disagree. I disagree that it's a... And the only reason why I disagree is, again, because of cultural difference. We're in the UK. I'm rarely pressed to find a grown white dude to say the N-word in front of me.
Forget white people. Mexicans who grew up in the
but
hood,
you're talking
Asians.
You are talking about the hood, but where? What hood and where? Because in this country, no,
bro.
Do you know why I say that? Do you know why I say that? You're hard pressed to find a normal individual who ain't roadman, and even then amongst the roadman. The only person I would say, Mexicans don't really count to me because that's an American thing. Maybe our Asian brothers like Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi, and some Somalis, but Somalis are African, so they can say that. But those people, maybe. The brown people, maybe. But I rarely hear it. And you know why? Because over in this culture, in this part of the land, your people are more educated over there. It's got to do with education. The only people I hear saying it across the race are young white, Asian, Chinese, whatever. The young kids. Because they have no clue. As soon as you get into the workplace or you're going university and you have some inkling of education, that word I don't hear it. I fully don't hear it. And I haven't been hearing it. Because I hang with the dancers, I hang with the rappers, hang with the producers. I don't hear it. I see even roadman. You're definitely not going to see it amongst the roadman. Because if you see one guy chilling, is like, yeah, my nigga. As soon as he hangs around with another black dude and you get one Asian kid saying, my nigga, it only takes for him to snap and say, brother, you dumb. Who you saying that to? And immediately that's fixed. He's educated. Do you see what I'm saying? So what you're talking about, I agree, but again, it's an African-American issue. So maybe the question is, do we say it as those outside of the African-American culture and community? Do you see what I'm saying? Because the argument for them is fine about policing it, controlling it. They're having that in their face. They're still pretty much... I'll disagree with you about the difference between the civil rights movement in here. There's still pretty much racism going on. It's just a bit more covert. We still got to deal with it. And there's a lot of people that are saying nothing really's changed, except that maybe we're seeing black people move up a little bit. But really, there's still the problems we're dealing with before. It's just covert and still a bit political PC, all this nonsense. But my whole thing is, maybe the argument is, outside of the African-American community and culture, do we use the word and should we even be bothered about policing it?
Outside the African-American community?
Yeah, outside of it.
So you're talking like British black?
British, Nigerian, it doesn't matter, Somalian, Africans.
If we quickly, because we're running out of time, we've got 5 minutes. But, all right, let's talk about British black people, right? Because we've harped on a lot about the African-American side of things. British black people, because as you've highlighted, right, it's not nearly as much of a thing where people outside of the black community say the N-word. They do, I promise you they do.
Yeah,
but
they do.
Not
No, I agree
as
with you.
much as like, you know what I mean, Latinos
It's like,
in
it's
America.
very minimal, man. But go on.
Cool. So, what are we then saying for black people in the UK then, in terms of using the N-word?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I would side with. It's difficult because, like I said, we consume African American content. We have cousins over there. You know what I'm saying? We have family over there, like physical family, like the British and American, Afro Brits and Afro Americans or whatever. We have a very man's wheezing on the mic, but we have a very interesting relationship. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. More so than any other country, because of the diasporans. You see what I'm saying? So it's hard to get rid of the word. I would say it has no place, but because I look up to people like Dave Chappelle, that's why when I brought up the point about you saying it as a joke, I don't use the word, but I use it as a joke, and I use it mostly to quote my comedian guys that I look up to. So to say get rid of the word, my ideal self would say yes, because it's not part of my normal vocabulary when I'm around, because you know we live in a very multicultural London. Well, okay, you're in Hemel, but when you're in London, like when I'm out talking with people of every race, it has no place there because it's just not part of that conversation. When we're joking, it might come out, you know what I'm saying? And then even with some of my multicultural Asian, black, brown people, whoever, sometimes it comes across if you got, you know, a couple of black people and we throw it around as a joke. But you notice if it keeps getting thrown around, it makes them uncomfortable. And being human beings, when you see other people uncomfortable, you kind of want to dial it down, especially if they're your friends. So I don't use it. But for that joking sense and for my people, for having something like, you know, me and you, when we joke, we were like, yeah, my nigga, you like tacos, nigga? I love jalapenos, nigga.
What the hell, bro?
Ramen, nigga.
I know what the heck you guys are talking about.
But yeah, do you see what I'm saying? But look at what I did just there. It was a joke. I know I'm being dumb about it, but it was a joke and we can crack up over it. But outside of that, there's no need for me to use it. In my home as an African person, African culture,
Well.
you're a nigga. But anyway,
with a hard ER.
a hard ER, nigga. But yeah, it just doesn't get used. I can't say that around my grandma. I don't say. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's not even that she'd be upset about it. It just doesn't have its place in the African. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have that if you've inherited that. And I'd be hard pressed to say as well, maybe those in Africa, African Americans who are like maybe Nigerians who are born there and grown up there, say it. They wouldn't say it around their family. I'd say that because it's just not African vocabulary. So it's about the vocabulary and the culture, man.
People don't understand how, even myself, I don't even understand how fully how powerful that word is. Like, we haven't experienced what they experienced, obviously. Like, we haven't seen, like, obviously we can sympathize. I can't speak English.
I think we all can't. I mean, the most well-spoken today is you, bro. Adrian, bro. Come on, now. It's because he's got a job. He sells houses. Jehovah, you are the
We can have sympathy, but we haven't.
We cannot relate firsthand to the oppression.
Yeah, so to a point where you can say that to an old person and they can go into tears and almost remember what happened to their mother or what happened to them personally, or being called dog or monkey on the street. Like, that word is so powerful to have it in any sort of form, whether nigger, whatever. Like, that's what we don't understand. If we right now, like, it sounds really silly, if we right now just somehow saw a glimpse of what happened, how Jamaicans got I don't want to go into proper details, but how, you know, Jamaicans got raped and their babies got thrown into lakes with crocodiles, and you know, if we went through all the history all around the world of how black people were slaves, we truly, I'm telling you as well, you would not want to use that word at all. Look, if you saw it right now, you would not want to use that word at all in any sort of form. Facts, bro. Facts. Can't tell me nothing, bro. Man's on fire.
That was been the episode. The way he's just trying to end it like that,
bro. No, we'll end it. We'll end it there. We'll end it there. Because if I come back, then
let's end it with our views. So, you've already said that you're against the word being used. Of
course,
Adrian.
I'm for the word being used for the time being.
And I'm hard on the fence because I do use the word, but in other essences, I can understand both sides of the argument. But as an individual,
Can I just do one little quick thing?
No, fam, we've got to end this
No,
video.
quick thing.
You said facts now.
No, quick thing.
All right, quick thing.
Can 6ix9ine and Cardi B say the N-word?
Oh shit.
Just say yes or no. Say yes or no. Just finish.
No. I cannot give the same answer for both.
Ooh.
Because Cardi's got some black in her. Simple as that.
She is, yes.
Yeah, so because Cardi's got some black in her, she can say it. But Tekashi 6ix9ine can't.
But from what that guy broke down, he does have black-looking features. He looks like, you know when you get albino people, but they've got black-looking features. He got that wide nose, and he got that the lips on him a little bit, and the way his hair mats as well.
Right, if Tekashi 6ix9ine can prove that he's got some black in him, then he can say it. But until then, no.
Do you know what? Actually, hold on. Just to round up, maybe that's part of the black community policing it. It's like, even if you're mixed, you have... But then it gets into colorism. It's difficult. It's very difficult. Because my whole argument...
Say the N-word, yeah?
No, I was gonna say in terms of how you look, because again, all of it comes down to how you look. If a white person looked dark as hell, and they got the white features, but they were like nigger, and they look black as hell, we probably would go, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't think
difficult.
so. I don't think so.
But it's difficult because you know what? Part of the whole argument comes up because of the pigmentation of the person that's saying it.
Yes.
He looks... If we found out actually his dad was black and we saw a black dude...
That's the argument.
Yeah, and he was black, right? And he looked as light as he was and he didn't look like that because there's people like that... Then what would we say? Because that's like Rachel. That's like what's her name? Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle's mum is black. If she wanted to say the N word, a lot of people would be outraged. But as soon as you brought her mum into the picture, you would be like, Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then maybe it's something about the black community going, okay, it doesn't matter how mixed you are. Immediately there's a certain color, but then again it gets into the colorism thing, and that's difficult. So
look,
maybe
my thing is, look, simply, if you got a drop of black in you, you my nigga. That's it.
That's difficult.
That's
difficult.
That is
because when I meet that Chinese guy, he goes, "Hello, my name is Tyrone, and you're my nigga." I'll be like, "Bro, listen, I'm looking at your eyes."
What generation you go?
Hey, my Asian people, I'm sorry if you're better. I didn't mean to do that accent, but you know, it's all love.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Forbidden Juice, right? So you guys weigh in on the discussion. What do you think? Do you think the N-word is acceptable to be used? Do you think it's not acceptable to use? Who can use it? Who can't use it? Let us know in the comment section below. You can catch us on Forbidden_Juice on Twitter and Forbidden Juice Podcast on Instagram. I don't think we should bother giving our personals anymore.
No, man. We've been doing it, and we'll come back. Just keep at it, bro. English is feeling me, man.
What, we'll keep at it.
I'm
then.
like, but that's all, folks.
We're keeping at it. Is that what we're doing?
No, I mean, no, not doing that. I mean, like, if we just keep going, it doesn't matter. People will find us.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, just holler at us on our Twitter and our Instagram. So once again, that is Forbidden_Juice on Twitter, and then Forbidden Juice Podcast on Instagram. But yo, these are your hosts. It's your boy AD.
Truefunktion, what it is?
Yo, RJ, man. Sorry for being so aggressive today. So.
No, bro, we love it, bro.
And look at how gentle he is now, you pussy, bro.
Hey, what you doing?
Shut up, bro.
All right, out.